It looks like it's time for us to start. So I am happy to welcome everyone to our webinar, Building Sustainable Supply Chain Approach with AI Forecasting. And today we'll be talking about how to maximize profits for food and beverage industry. So I'm very happy that everyone found the time for you to join today. And before we start, I am happy to introduce our speakers for today. Starting with myself, I'm Amy Danvers, a supply chain professional and S&OP implementation expert at Streamline. I have a degree in international economics and trade, and I have also experience with procurement operations for more than 5 years. So very happy to meet all of you. And let me also introduce our next speaker, Sheetal Yadav, a specialist in statistical techniques and data modeling with over 10 years of consulting experience in planning and forecasting across the industry sectors. Sheetal has a bachelor degree in engineering and MBA in supply chain management. Thank you so much, Sheetal, for joining.
Thanks, Amy.
And last but not least, Jihad Ashore, supply chain professional with more than 10 years experience in supply chain management and 6 years of experience in S&OP implementation project management, as well as business process development and S&OP management. So happy that you were able to join with us today, Jihad.
Thank you, Amy. Hi, everyone.
All right, and before we proceed with our main topic, I would like to address one question to our audience. So if you can hear us, if you can participate in this webinar, please drop in the chat where you're joining us from, and we'll be happy to get to know you a little bit better. All right, we have the answers from Italy, from Suraj, China, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Philippines, India, Vietnam, India, Egypt, Netherlands, Turkey, again, India yet again. So thank you so much for everyone participating. We have more answers for Turkey, India, Saudi Arabia. Thank you everyone for participating and for answering this short question. All right, moving on. Just to introduce briefly the webinar logistics, how this event is gonna go. First of all, I would encourage everyone for today to engage with us. You can submit your questions through the Q&A or through the chat, and we'll do our best to answer them timely. This webinar is also meant to be very interactive, so we've prepared several questions for you to interact with us and share your ideas and expectations with us as well. And finally, we will be also sharing the recording after this webinar, so if anyone registered but missed the event, we'll still follow you up and send you the recording of it in just a couple of days. All right, and finally, the outline for our webinar today. We're starting with the industry situation overview. Then we'll discuss the key supply chain challenges for food and beverage industries. We'll be discussing more details on how to mitigate certain challenges related to the demand volatility, inventory constraints, as well as financial challenges. And then we'll wrap everything up with financial and sustainability benefits of the automated supply chain approach for the food and beverage. And finally, we'll wrap everything up with a Q&A session. If any questions will be left to answer, this is where we can address them. All right, and that would be all for me. For the industry situation overview, I pass the mic to our first speaker, Sheetal.
Thanks, Amy, and thanks everyone for joining us on this session today. We wanted to just briefly start with the growth and the progress that we see in the food and beverage industry globally. In 2024, the market was over 6,900 or roughly around 7,000 USD billion dollar, right? And it has increased to 7,500 and now it is expected to reach around $9,400 billion by 2029. Now that's quite a significant growth, and we are expected to grow here at around 6.3% CAGR. And some of the key driver that we can see is that the growth is quite substantial in the emerging market with increasing internet, penetration and the disposable income. But there are also quite other factors that contribute. There are quite a number of key drivers that contribute to this growth. And let's look at some of those factors as well in the next slide. So one of the factor that we have seen, or one of the key trend that we have seen emerging out in the food and beverage industry is the focus on sustainability and the waste management effort. Um, um, I mean, there have been technological advancement within supply chain, within the whole food and beverage ecosystem, where companies are releasing automated photoelectron sensor to handle the material best and to reduce the wastage and also improve the efficiency for the overall handling. There's a lot of focus on ensuring the products are more sustainable, the entire supply chain is more sustainable, so to speak. There are, of course, evolving consumer preferences with a rising focus on health conscious choices that we all are trying to make post-COVID for sure. And there is an increase of 3.9% by 2025. And then there is overall focus on supply chain resilience and digitization. We have seen how Trump is now changing tariffs right and center. And that's impacting all of us. Still, we have a sustainable and efficient supply chain. I think we would still be at the receiving end. Though Trump's tariff, we never know where they will go. There's a lot of uncertainty. But planning for it is quite important. However, nevertheless, for the key trend, there is definitely a big focus on the digitization in terms of in terms of managing the supply chain disruptions better, the economic uncertainty better, and the companies are also, of course, diversifying the suppliers to better equip themselves from these disruptions. There is a whole effort in modernization. And then finally, the focus on AI and technological advancement. I think we need to focus more and more in this segment. There is definitely a growth, very high growth of about 45.7% CAGR by 2026, which is in AI, adoption of AI in food manufacturing, especially. Then there are these AI, ML based methods to generate more accurate forecasts. Those are also available. And then the overall market size is expected to rise quite dramatically in this space. So let's watch out for some of these trends, and we'll be focusing and talking more on some of these areas in the upcoming sessions as well. Yeah, Amy.
All right, thank you so much, Shita, for such a nice overview. With this, I want to address the next question to our audience. And please share your idea. So, what are the challenges that you experience the most in your current operations? Is it something related more with the rapidly changing market, or producing the accurate demand forecast, something that you're struggling with? Perhaps you are looking to build more sustainable replenishment process with minimum write-offs, or handling inventory constraints gives you the most headache in your day-to-day operations. So just give a couple of seconds of your time to this poll and share your challenges, your struggles with us. We would be definitely addressing them future in the webinar, but it's also very interesting for us to see what kind of experience our viewers will have. All right, let's just give it a couple of more seconds, and I think we can see the results. So I think it is quite a close tie between keeping up with the rapidly changing market as well as handling inventory constraints. but also accurate demand forecast and building sustainable replenishment process is something that we still need to look out for. And some of us are still very concerned about production and emission waste. So thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your ideas. And let's move on to our next speaker. Jihad will cover the key challenges that businesses are normally struggling when it comes to demand volatility, inventory constraints, and financial um, constraints. Jihad, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. Actually, the poll, improves that these are the major and the common challenges that everybody is suffering from. So let's have a deep look at the key supply chain challenges affecting the F&B industry today. And let me start with the volatility of demand and forecast challenges, which may be a major one for everybody. So the unpredictable changes in the demand affected by factors like pandemic, sometimes the weather conditions and global warming, social media trends have also impact on the demand. Political changes, as Sheetal have just previously mentioned, that the crazy increase in tariffs recently we are seeing today, and sometimes the sanctions. All of these factors put more pressure on supply chains to adapt to these unpredictable fluctuation in the demand. And this problem also becomes worse with the absence of poor tools, with the absence of tools that helps us in modeling, the scenarios that we have for the future. And these tools, which are necessary to allow us handle the complexity of today's environment. These challenges will lead to, of course, inaccurate forecast and less visibility, and this therefore will, result in late reactions that will, just cause missing opportunities and losses due to less informed decisions. Secondly, most of the F&B products are sensitive to shelf life limitations, which makes it quite challenging to maintain the balance in inventory levels to prevent wasting both resources and revenue. And other challenges in logistics are also there. For example, the cold chain management, variable lead times, environmental regulations. These challenges also add more complexity to the operations. Of course, sometimes the replenishment strategies that are followed by business industries or F&B industries, like the min-max approaches, makes it the supply chain less responsive to real-time demand shifts and seasonality. In addition to that, the short ordering cycle puts also pressure on planning and procurement teams to respond quickly. So all these challenges will have a financial impact at the end of the day. And these impacts will create also other challenges in financial aspects of the operation. For example, overestimating demand will result in frozen capital, where the money will be tied up in excess stock that may never sell. On the other hand, the underestimating also in demand causes stockouts, which will lead to lost revenue and maybe damages the customer's trust. Another thing is the warehousing and distribution cost. This also will have a significant hit to margins if these things were not managed properly. And perhaps the most painful, which is the product write-offs, which will directly impact both profitability and sustainability. So in summary, these challenges are deeply connected. So the poor forecasting leads to inventory inefficiencies, which in turn create financial strains. So it is crucial for the F&B industry to be efficiently sustainable to overcome other environmental issues that impact the entire value of this sector. And this is, the topic of our next slide, which shows the importance of having sustainable, let's say, solutions for the F&B industries. The importance of having this smarter production and planning strategies will lead to less waste, lower cost, and smaller environmental footprints. The F&B industry actually is known to be one of the large consumers of agricultural inputs and fresh water, of course. And as the global population rises, it is crucial right now to optimize the sourcing and usage of these materials. In fact, the governments all over the world are now following strict rules for reserving these resources and applying penalties for anybody or any business that is not abiding with the food waste regulations, which may lead also to reputational damages for the business. So it is important to have sustainable focus planning to ensure the right products are made in the right quantities and delivered at the right time. Not only that, the F&B industry consumes also significant amount of energy in production, in refrigeration, in transportation. All these, operations consumes energy. Therefore, to invest in energy efficient technologies and smart supply chain planning help to reduce both the cost and emissions and carbon footprints, which are now key factors in measuring environmental impact. And it is not only the government's concern now, consumers are now more aware than ever of the environmental issues, and many of them prefer brands that are actively working to reduce their carbon emissions. This makes it important to adapt sustainable practices like local resourcing, optimizing distribution routes. That's the distribution routes. If the business should have an optimized routing for the distribution in between the locations for their business. All these factors, will help in reducing the carbon emission. Also, the consumers and the regulators both are now concerned about where this food is coming from, and have the ingredients been sourced ethically, and what about the labor practices? Were they fair in the organization? And sometimes the political stance of the company also matters in some situations. And a good example we are now seeing in the world is the boycott campaigns to support a political or humanitarian situations in the world. Therefore, it is important to have a sustainable supply chain that guarantees transparent, traceable, and responsible practices. So, in general, the shift towards sustainable operations is a strategic advantage right now. It is not something, a luxury. It is something strategic right now for the F&B business. It's about doing more with less. It provides a powerful driver of brand trust, operational efficiency, and long-term growth, aside by minimizing waste, conserving energy, reducing emissions, and acting responsibly. Amy?
All right. Thank you so much, Jihad, for your very insightful speech. Now, before we move on to how to mitigate the challenges that we've discussed and achieve a more sustainable approach to the food and beverage industry, I want to introduce Streamline, which would we use for today to demonstrate how those challenges can be mitigated with the right processes. So Streamline is a collaborative planning platform that creates year-ahead visibility into companies' shipments and purchase orders, doubling its profits. It's a supply chain optimization system, which is focusing on demand forecasting and inventory management, with a great trust response on the websites such as G2, where Streamline has been considered repeatedly as the industry leader, the best performers on the market, and also one of the solutions that can be easily implemented and installed fast. So we have representation in more than 35 countries with 1,200 satisfied customers, which are divided between manufacturers, distributors, retailers, and one of the industries that we're working very closely with would be food and beverage, with some of the customers you're seeing right now listed here, like Frontier Foods, KCG, Tonato, etc., etc. So we're saying that Streamline has the methodology to overcome those challenges. We are talking about the experiences of our customers. And now, after this brief introduction, I invite our speaker, Sheetal, again to talk about how the right approach to demand forecasting can mitigate demand volatility and forecasting challenges.
Thanks, Amy. Once again, one of the primary factor which really impacts the overall supply chain in food and beverage industry and also outside of food and beverage industry, so to speak, is managing the demand and the kind of volatility that we are seeing these days. How do we manage that? And how do we mitigate those challenges, right? So that's where our focus is. And one of the important factor that we need to consider is having a more accurate demand forecasting process and system. I was just just before this webinar, I was speaking with one of the candidate, and he mentioned that the company was able to reduce a lot of inventory levels. They brought down the inventory from, which was quite high, to a very low. And the difference was quite significant of about 5 months. So they reduced the overall inventory levels by 5 months. Imagine the kind of impact that they had. And the very first thing that they did was tackle the accuracy issue. We have had several instances where some of our customers have improved the whole process by focusing on making the forecast more and more accurate by leveraging the right applications. We have had customers go from accuracy level of 76% to more than 90%. How do we do that? We have AI in place today, which can help us capture the seasonal factors, which can capture the short-term demand variance, We can also look at the historical sales data. There's so much of information that's already available. Along with that, if we can feed in the information, especially in food and beverage industry, which is quite heavily impacted by the festivals and the different promotions that we do. And it is quite seasonal in nature as well. So in that case, we can leverage the AI to help us understand the demand patterns very well and use those demand patterns to understand what are the fluctuations. There are systems in place, and within Streamline, we can easily capture, correct the outliers, mark events. When I say mark events, basically include the promotion data, include the holiday calendars and the festivals which are moving in nature. There's Eid on one side, which happens at different point in time, and I'm talking more of the Indian festivals here, like Diwali, which are always moving in nature. Something that becomes quite challenging to tackle on Excel with a very large portfolio of items. It becomes super easy when we have systems like Streamline in place to generate accurate forecast. So one is we capture the demand forecast well. Then we sense the demand well in case we have shorter lead times, which enable us to react faster to the changing situation. We can leverage the demand sensing capability to quickly sense the changes in the demand and ensure that the inventories are best available to those locations so that we can still manage and retain the sales in such situation. We should be at this stage with lot of uncertainty here in the market, not just India, but globally. We should be looking at building up scenarios. What if something like this happens, right? What if something else happens? Then what kind of impact would it have? Not just on our demand, but also on the entire supply chain. We need to have softwares in place which can help us run these simulations, create different forecast versions, simulate with the sales team, the production team, the different stakeholders in the company, and then determine which scenario works the best and quickly activate that. And that may not be possible if we are still working on Excels and those outdated tools, which will take a lot of time. It's not that things cannot be done there, but it's more powerful when you have systems which can help you manage all of that with a click of button. And that is what I would like to showcase now. And let's move to my system. Let me start presenting. Let me know once my screen is visible. Let me know, Amy, once the screen is visible.
Yeah, I think it's loading.
Okay.
Just give it a second.
Sure. So what I'll be doing, okay, perfect, thanks. So what I'll be showcasing today is an interface of Streamline, which allows us to manage different sets of product. And it has AI ML based techniques, which helps us generate accurate forecasts. Over here on the right, on this portion of the screen, we can see the different products. Along with the different products, we can see, for example, we have all items within, and then we have food and finished goods. Within finished goods, we have, for example, food and beverage. Within food and beverage, we have alcobev. Within alcobev, I've selected a particular product. And then within that particular product, I've selected a particular location. So it allows us to create these hierarchies so as we can dice the information better. I have selected a view where I can first look at the item and then the location. It also allows me to just flip the hierarchy in no time and look at the locations first. The system would allow us, so for example, over here, I've selected the product. And over here, I can see on the graph what my historical sales have been. And based on the historical sales, I can very clearly see that there is a seasonal spike in demand somewhere around Feb. And that is being captured by the system. So there automatic selections, and then there are different methods that are available. On top of these, we have options where system automatically calculates, do we have a shortage? If there is a shortage, because the stock was not available and we lost out on sales, we don't have to feed this information. System is quite capable of capturing all of it and help us manage the demand well. Things that you would find it difficult to do on Excel, it just becomes very easy to manage it. And then we have options where system detects outlier. We can do price elasticity. We can map the holidays as we would want. We can select any of the holiday that we can create in any of these regions, and then see if that has an impact on our sales. Now, because this is a seasonal item, we can very easily see over here that the system has generated a forecast using a seasonal and trend model. And over here, we can very quickly see that there is an increase in the sales for the month of Feb. The sales typically go up by 23%, and for rest of the months, it sort of slows down, right? So that's something that system is automatically capturing and generating and giving us a statistical forecast. It then is also allowing me to look at I can very quickly select any of the other locations and see what kind of models the system selects. Over here, we did not sell a lot, but we did not have the inventory. So system is automatically calculating the shortage days. So all of these options are available. I want to also showcase the demand sensing portion where, for example, I have this particular product. I have uh, month to date sales also available as we are progressing. And based on this information, we can use the demand sensing option available. Now, this option is quite useful only when we have, for example, a very short lead time so that we can react to these changes pretty quickly. Now, if I select demand sensing as no, my forecast automatically goes down. The statistical forecast initially was quite low, but we can see that month till date sales is quite high over here. And it is roughly around 14 days of sales that we are capturing. But with just one click, I can very quickly see that the demand is increased, and then this gives me an option to react to this demand quite fast. Right? So all of that is also equally important. We were talking also about the consensus building, or basically the forecast version. Over here, for example, I have, okay, we can look at the same product over here. We can see what my last year sales is. I have the row where the sales team can also feed in their numbers. I have the option where the overall consensus can happen. So I have a statistical forecast, and then based on the setup that we have within the organization, we can create as many collaboration rows as possible, the forecast version. That's where we can do do not just the collaboration, but also plan different scenarios. Hey, look, if this is my forecast, then how much inventory and what kind of revenue would I be expecting? If I say increase the forecast by 20%, right, for the next couple of months, then what kind of impact would I have in the future? So automatically things would change as my inventory is moving and changing. I can select a different location over here, and we can very quickly see what my projected inventory days would be, what my projected days of supply is. So initially we are starting with a very high supply, but automatically Streamline is reducing it based on the settings that we have defined in the system. Over here, sales have given, for example, certain inside, they've increased the forecast to 70,000, which initially was 55,000. So I have a production capacity of 60. But considering the last year sales, they have given this number, and then they are also doing some promotion. So ultimately, as part of the consensus process, we can take a call. It's very user intuitive interface that we have over here, and say we can increase it to 60K. And that's about it, and automatically I can see what kind of inventory numbers would I be anticipating, not just now, but in the future as well. So I wanted to give a short overview today, but we will, as in the further sessions, we will definitely go into the deep dive mode as well. Thanks,
Thank you
Amy.
so much, Shital. It looks like we have one question. Muatas is asking, what is the type of forecasting used there?
So we have time series decomposition technique. We use decision tree to determine the historical data length, which is the most relevant in the changing times. So if the trends are changing quite frequently, then there are ML-based decision trees which would automatically determine out of the total historical data length how much is quite critical for us to gain the pattern. So there are these time series decomposition method, which are equivalent to an exponential smoothing method. Then we have regression-based methods for managing the price variation. We have a regression-based model for managing the promotions. We have a plethora of options available depending on the data size and the data types as well. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you so much, Shital. We have another question from Suraj from India. Are weather dependent considering in food and beverage demand forecast? If yes, will that be considered in QOQ or WOW forecasting?
So weather dependent considering okay, so currently we do not have weather dependent F&B forecasting process. It is a little bit challenging to get that information. We have tried that with some of our other customers as well. To get that information is quite difficult unless and until we have a short lead time and a short turnaround time. There it definitely is quite important, and I think in the crop industry it is quite relevant as well. But as of now, we do not use this information. We can, however, leverage the consensus approach to again build the forecasts by considering these factors.
All right, thank you so much, Shital. And looks like that's
I think we have one more question.
one more
we see in the
question.
chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
How smooth or easy it is to integrate with any ERP system such as SAP?
We have various connectors in place, and we have connectors with SAP B1 as well. We have direct connectors with SAP B1. In case this is a different, SAP ERP, then we have custom APIs. We have a very strong team of experts, data experts who can have the integration set very quickly, provided we get the data fast and we have those connections available to us. If we get that, we have seen implementations go in a month's time. Sometimes it could be 2 or 3 months as well. Totally depends on how fast you're able to provide us with these connections.
All right, thank you so much, Shital, for your insights. And looks like we have no more questions. So moving over to you, Jihad, to discuss about how we can mitigate inventory constraints challenges.
Yeah, thank you, Amy, and hello again. Inventory constraints can escalate quickly into serious operational and financial problems. Therefore, it is important to adopt smart and more connected strategies for effective mitigation. This means that the company should have a dynamic inventory management system integrating the demand forecast directly with real-time inventory data. Dynamic systems adjust stock levels continuously based on actual demand and supply chain conditions. And eventually this will lead to optimizing the stock levels so you're not carrying more than you need, and reduce the overstock and stockouts, improving both the efficiency and service levels. and less waste, of course, for the expired inventories. Also, aligning the supplier orders with accurate and real-time demand forecasts um, is important, and it allows for smarter procurement and smoother operations. It leads to a greater resilience across the supply chain and a better equipment, or you are better having better tools to adapt to disruptions. And it is significantly reducing delays, keeping products moving on the shelves, scheduled by, between the supplier and the demand in the company. So to mitigate inventory expiries, also you need to implement shelf life monitoring tools and smart stock allocation strategies. Of course, this will lead to prioritizing the movement of products based on their expiry risks. So this will help also to move the near expiry items before the other items. This will directly lead to reduce the write-offs in the company and save more money and products, and supporting also more sustainable practice. So in general, mitigating inventory constraints isn't about holding more stock. It's about managing your inventory smarter. So the more your inventory data is integrated with the demand planning system, the more your supply and replenishment operations is efficient. So let me share my screen just to demonstrate that on Streamline. And please let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. So to show how Streamline is, quickly is responsive to any changes on the inventory data, let's just take an example. For example, for this item, as you can see, the first row, this is the actual sales that are pulled from your system. So any change in the actual sales in the history, it should have a direct and immediate impact on the forecast plan for the future. For example, changing the, let's say, the sales in this period of time will immediately change the forecast plan for the future, and everything will be, applied to the plans, to the ordering plan. And you can see how responsive the system is to any changes in the let's say for the actual sales. This is one issue that is showing how the system is responsive to these changes. Other things, for example, this item is showing that we have stockouts or shortage. So if the quantity on hand has changed to, we have, new orders and they entered into the warehouse and into the system. So this change should immediately be reflected. And as you can see, we are now having no shortages. So whenever there is a change in the system, wherever is the change on the inventory, that information is integrated with Streamline, it immediately affects the results and also apply this change to the forecast plan. This will help also you or the demand planner to align the sales orders or the purchase orders or their orders from the supplier, to align their orders with the supplier. Of course, in the reports, you can pull out your ordering plan for the next 12 months and provide it to your supplier, and so that the supplier will make changes or prepare his production plan based on your ordering plan. And anytime there is any change during the forecast horizon, as you go with the project, whenever there is a change, you can also we have seen that any change happens will change the forecast, and this will also be reflected on the ordering plan. You can also send these changes to your supplier just to adjust his plan. So in the reports, you can pull out, let's say, your ordering plan, and once you have this report, you can pull it on Excel and share it with your supplier. And in this way, he will know what are the expected quantities that he needs to get it ready for you in the future. Other things we need to check also during or related to the inventory changes in data is the how the system should handle the shelf life. In Streamline, it tracks the inventory by batches. As you can see here, Streamline is getting all the information from the system for all the items with batches and expiries and the quantities for each batch. In this way, Streamline knows the existing inventory and the expiries of these, and the inventory in the company and the quantity for each batch. And by having by setting some standards or controls in the settings of the system, you can set the let's say shelf life exceeding percentage, which basically you're telling Streamline to control the orders so as not to exceed the expected write-offs of the inventory by 5%. So in this case, we are having a limitation, a global limitation for Streamline for all items to limit the ordering plan in a way that we don't have expected expiries to be more than 5% across the forecast horizon. And this also will be shown in the inventory tab. As you can see here, we have the shelf life days and shelf life exceed percentages. For non-expiry items, it shows that always infinity, but you can see here, this is my ordering plan for the next period suggested by Streamline. So if I change, let's say, the shelf life here for this item to 60 days, you can see that this will change my current order, and that means that Streamline now, considering that this item has a shelf life of 60 days, then it has to adjust the quantities to make sure that you don't have more than 5% expected write-offs. Of course, you can change for individual items. You can change this percentage. For example, if you have items and you have no problem with, let's say, having excess write-offs more than 5%, you can change it to 10, and this also will make changes to the ordered quantity. Other things also show you, we can show that how Streamline is so responsive to any change in the inventory data. For example, if the lead time is changing for any item, let's suppose that this lead time is 60 days, and see how this will also change the my ordering plan for the next period. Any of these replenishment parameters, min, max, slots, surroundings, the service level or the importance of this item in the operation, all of these parameters can have influence or impact on the current order. By having, the Streamline controlling the shelf life or monitoring the shelf life of all the inventory, you can also utilize this feature by, pulling out the report of the projected write-offs, and this will show here uh, where are the expected write-offs across the horizon. So you might find, let's say, for this item, some quantities will expire in May, and then you can, let's say, based on that, adjust your, let's say, sales plan, maybe make promotions before, approaching this time for this quantity. This will also help you in, just minimizing the write-offs in the company as a whole.
Thank you so much, Jihad. We have a couple of questions in the chat. So let's answer them real quick, and then we still have a couple of minutes to wrap up with the presentation. So can I also plan by sales channels instead of locations for certain products? Dominic asks.
Of course, of course. Let me just show a different example, because we have different examples here to show if we have, let's say, we have more than option to check on the on our forecast. Let me just select yes with this one. So if we have example with we have a dimension here with three limiters: item, location, and channel. And you can select the dimension that you want to make your plan. In this example, we are planning for the items as the first priority, and then location and channel. So what we are seeing here is the items group, the classification until we reach the SKU, and then we move to the location, and if we have more than one location, and finally the channel. So we can plan for the channel for each item separately, or we can plan for the channel itself. So I can select the channel as the first option, and this will give me a new dimension for my planning. I can, based on that, start planning for the whole channel, or I can drill down to items category. I can plan for this item category under this channel, or I can drill down until I reach the lowest bottom. I hope this answers your question.
Yes, and also to your next question, can the consolidated reports by the channel or locations be used in Streamline? The answer is also yes. We have a very sophisticated filtering system that can support that. All right, with this, let me pass the mic back to Sheetal for the last part of our main topic about mitigating financial challenges. Sheetal?
All right. Thanks, Amy. So mitigating financial challenge, I think everything that we do in supply chain is linked to finance. So if you're selling something, if you're getting revenues, that has natural impact. How effectively are we able to generate a forecast which is far closer to reality would help us mitigate some of these challenges. We have seen some of our customers who have drastically brought down the number of days of inventory, the cover that they have, by improving the forecast accuracy. So they started with mid-70s forecast accuracy, but when they reached the forecast accuracy of more than 90%, they were able to reduce the inventory levels to less than 10 days. In fact, imagine the power that the supply chain team and the company would have, because they're working on very thin inventory, but without having an impact on the service level at the same time. So they are not, impacting anywhere the sales losses. They are very well covered, but because they have been able to accurately forecast, they were able to reduce the inventory levels. So having the visibility to not just your supply chain team, we need to have a system which gives equal visibility to your finance, to the sales team, to the production team, or all of these different stakeholders. Now that's quite important to have, which helps us manage and reduce the risk and manage and minimize the losses. One of the example that I've often given during some of the calls is that how this customer of ours was quite on top of against their competitor because they had very less inventory levels, and when the COVID hit and things went downhill there. The other companies were facing inventory losses because of wastages in number of months, right? They had months of inventory, and then that's the kind of losses that they faced versus this company which was able to liquidate everything off, and they were able to have very minimal wastages. So that's the power that the company had. That helped them in having their working capital floating. They had enough capital, and the capital was also free. The write-offs were next to negligible. What Jihad showcased on the call today, the write-off report, which showcases not just the write-offs that are going to happen in the current week or the current month, but if the demand is not so significant and if we have very high inventory level, we can take a call. This report becomes extremely crucial. We can float it around to this finance team and the sales team and come up with a liquidation plan, liquidate the inventory before it expires. And that's what this company was doing. And they were able to effectively minimize or have very negligible write-off because, especially because of the managing of expirations and improvement in forecast accuracy. So this was something, this is sort of a case study that we often talk to when we are talking to our customers, that the focus on accuracy is so significant, and that results in the impact in various areas of supply chain and finance for that matter. And the profitability overall has improved. The relationship with the customer has also gone up. The kind of confidence that they have on the application is pretty good. Everything is automated with just few clicks and fine tuning of the demand. The system is set to run, right? Let me show you the example. Yeah.
Shital, perhaps
Okay, sure, I
set
understand.
to be mindful of time,
Sure,
since we have only a couple of minutes left.
sure.
I wanted to mention to the audience is that we are as a service from this webinar, we're also offering individual consultancies for use with our speakers. So if you have further questions and further discussion regarding how we can improve your systems and draw out better results, we can schedule a separate individual sessions for you. And for now, let's wrap up with the conclusions on how those changes influence on the sustainability. So I invite Jihad to briefly draw up this conversation. And yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Amy. Let me just go quickly, because we are short of time. AI-powered demand planning is a key factor actually in supporting sustainability goals while boosting performances, of course. So this technology contributes, and as we have seen previously, optimizing resource use by aligning the supply with demand, so that you are producing exactly what is needed, no more, no less. And it also improved the supply chain efficiency by driving a greater supply chain efficiency that helps improve supplier coordination and ensure allocating stock where and when it needs to be. It lowers helps in reducing energy consumption and provide enhanced long-term planning, where you can analyze historical trends, seasonality, promotional impacts, and market shifts, rather than relying on reactive or manual forecast. This is a planning strategy offered by AI can help simulating multiple scenarios and plan more accurately over months or even years. So this is a quick overview about the importance of AI planning for the F&B industry.
Thank you so much, Jihad. And as a conclusion, I also want to draw your attention to a couple of case studies that we have of implementing Streamline for various food and beverage industries, companies. This one presenting single file wines as wine and spirits manufacturers in retails who, after improving their approach to forecasting, were able to improve their budgeting process, create an accurate budgeting forecast, as well as shorten the decision-making time and have a better alignment with the market demand just by introducing a correct forecasting into their processes. Same goes with another case, KCG, who had difficulties not only producing the accurate forecast, but also managing the S&OP processes. What they were able to achieve by improving the forecasting accuracy, increasing their turnovers, and also reduced any slow-moving and obsolete products from their stocks, which meant for a more sustainable approach to fast-moving consumer goods manufacturing in Thailand. And just to wrap up, I also want to share another question for our audience. Given the information that you received today, what do you think would be the priority for you to implement those new improvements and those changes for you today? Would it be top priority, something that you're planning to do in the next 3 months, something that has a high priority for the next half a year? Is it something that you're looking to implement this year, or you're just thinking about the next steps for your business for the next business year? So let us know your perspective, your vision, your plans for the future. It is very valuable for us to see your answers. And let me also share the results with the majority of you answering that this is something that you're looking to implement for the next 3 months. Like I said, we already shared the links with the calendars of our speakers in the chat below. So feel free to reach out. Feel free to book your free session today. And we would do our best to help you with improving your operations, improving your businesses, and also helping you navigate this ever-changing market. So I know that there were some questions that were left unanswered, but again, if you have any remaining ones, please book your session right now. Let us duplicate the links for you, and we'll see. Hopefully, we'll see you there. We'll be very happy to help you with this processes. All right, we've taken a couple of minutes extra for today. I hope that is all right with everyone. And yeah, it was a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for joining. Let us reach out to you if you have any questions, and I am sure we'll be able to see each other on the next webinar. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for your kind words and appreciations. See you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good
Thank
day.
you, everyone. Thank you, Amy.